All right, congratulations on Night Swim. I saw it last night. I dropped my popcorn at a scary moment, so I think it was mission accomplished.
Just too much butter probably on the fingers. That's my way.
I've been known to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. I mean, the theater was packed and everyone was, reacting, and which makes it all the more fun.
I'd love to hear that.
I think that's one of the goals in making a movie like this is
yes,
people to get involved, and
that's the fun thing about horror, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a participation experience, not just like watching in your own little bubble. It's
exactly,
that's cool.
Exactly. And I watched the short film that came out.
Yeah.
What was that, 9-10 years ago?
Yeah, a long time, yeah.
That's cool. So I'm sure you've told this story X amount of times today, so I apologize.
That's okay.
If whatever you'd like to share about, bringing it to life as a feature and getting those big names, signed on, I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Really started with my friend Rod Blackhurst and I, who co-directed the short, and just kind of remembering, what it felt like to be a kid and be freaking yourself out about being in the pool at night and the lights going out and feeling like there was no bottom to the pool, right? And it kind of being like we were like swimming one night kind of in the valley in like an apartment pool, and kind of being like, I kind of I'm feeling some part of that feeling as an adult. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but and there's like, we made the short just to kind of see if we could tap into that feeling, that's kind of nostalgic feeling of fear. Put on the internet, and turns out that we were not alone in having that kind of fear around the pool, and like we didn't know, like, is that everyone? Is that just us? But people were like, I remember being a kid, and I felt like Jaws was gonna get me, and all that stuff came in, right? And kind of developed. It took a few years, but like kind of eventually found the right concept that felt like it was worth it to do it as a feature, not just like stretching out the same idea for 90 minutes, and like we're like, it's got to be a bigger mystery, a bigger mythology, and the movie has that, but it did take some time to like make sure you had that idea. Yeah. Then we took that out as a pitch, and James Wan watched the short. He was swimming in his pool at night. It scared him apparently, and he kind of told us the next day. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm scared James Wan. It's the best ever. So came in, had a meeting with him, and just kind of pitched him like what we thought largely a lot of what you saw in the movie last night. Like, we had the big pieces of that down. It changed a lot, but like the biggest beats of that were there. And found him as a partner and just developed it with him, and then eventually found our way to Blumhouse and then Universal. And James, obviously one of the great contemporary horror masters, and he had so much input and great ideas, and just like made the movie better at every turn. Yeah, he was amazing to work with.
That's awesome. I was thinking about like certain moments, like a certain past scary movie would come to mind, whether it was like It.
Mm-hmm. The drain flap.
Yeah. But that was great. I mean, I was curious, going into it, if maybe you revisited old, certain movies and sort of, getting your vision for Night Swim.
No, we did. No, I think what was unique about this movie was the pool and what to offer there. The mythology and just that location had never been like mined in that exact way. So I think we were like really, honestly, like excited by like owning some of the tropes at the beginning. Like Poltergeist was a big inspiration. Like the family moves in the house and everything's going great, and some of those big ideas, they were like, I'm okay with it feeling really familiar and nostalgic, because that almost puts your defenses down a little bit when like it turns into some stuff we've never seen before, like where the pool goes and what's down there, and some of the scares, like the Marco Polo. Like, I think it was helpful in a way to almost like put the audience at ease by like, oh, we think we know what movie we're in, or we've seen some of these things before, but then you care about the family, and that was so big too. We had to like invest on the character level, so people care when you turn that corner into the crazy stuff. But yeah, we definitely like Amityville Horror and The Shining and Poltergeist and Burnt Offerings, and just Stephen King kind of in general, like the way that he takes the car, and Cujo, and like taking something that's supposed to be familiar and comforting and positive and inverts it into something terrifying and negative. And that was definitely like, it was really pulling from that kind of American horror film of the 70s and 80s was a huge, even just visually, like the lenses we shot on are like these old prime lenses that just feel like a little more texture and a little more of that character. So that was that was always our reference point for just kind of stylistically how we entered. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that the look of it was very cool. Like, and yeah, the moment where Wyatt's character, he takes off the bandage. I think that was the moment for me where I was like, okay, this is not.
That's right.
I thought it was just going to be
That's right.
the pool attacks everyone, and it's like, nope, it's much more than that.
And that was, it wasn't until that moment or that idea that I knew that it was a movie worth making. Because like you had to have some other gear that you were able to tap into just to keep it interesting and to keep it develop complicated. You don't know which side you fall on in this, and so that's cool to hear that moment kind of came through for you. Because I think for me, honestly, that was like a really important moment of like, okay, now I see the movie, and before that I'm just like I see a series of scares, and now I'm like now I see a series of scares built on this character journey and this mythology, and so that's cool. That's cool.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was great. And Carrie, they're both great, but it's fun, especially the second half when you're just like rooting for
yes.
Carrie when she goes to the house and she's
yes.
taking care of business.
That's right.
Saving her family. And,
yep.
I was curious what it was like. They've been in X amount of movies over the years, and working with them day to day. I was curious what that was like.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, that kind of shift you're talking about, I think really was what drew Carrie to the material and to the character. Was like, it's not a passive supporting female character. Like she takes the whole movie over on her shoulders and kicks ass and goes full Ripley and Alien. I think she really wanted to be I want to go Mama Bear mode and go to the other end of the earth to bring my child back. And that I love what she brought to that. I think that was a huge part of why she wanted to do it. But yeah, she's an incredible actor that every time the camera rolls, something special happens, and she just brought so much just the way she talks with the kids and those little moments of humanity, the conversation that she has with her daughter on the bed of kind of just being I'm not gonna let anything bad happen to you, and her being vulnerable with her daughter for the first time. That was an important scene and moment for me of I think that the horror is scarier if you have the humans there, and so I think that she's such a fabulous dramatic actor that she brought so much humanity to it.
Yeah, she was great. And yeah, when I was speaking with her and Wyatt, and I mentioned to Wyatt the Jack Torrance vibes, where it's when he's looking over at the pool, that's Jack looking at the crop circle, and he was like, oh, it almost didn't occur to him. I was like, oh,
totally.
It was interesting that I would think he would be beating me to the punch.
Yeah. No, but that's true. That's exactly. It's him looking out the hedge maze on Wednesday. It's just him staring off. Right. Totally a shining reference out through the window framed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Are you working on anything at the moment that you're able to share about?
Well, look, I'm hoping that if people go see Night Swim on January 5th and experience it in a theater, that we'll be able to, there's more story to tell certainly, and more mythology to unearth, and more secrets to get into, and I'd love to be able to make a Night Swim too. But obviously, hopefully, there's the audience for that, and people like it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah,
you open up a really cool universe, and even going to Rebecca's family and speaking to the mom, and I just feel there's so much potential. Going back, what was it, summer '92 when it starts?
Yeah,
just going back to that era.
And you kind of see in the internet research that there's this has happened, all that stuff. So without giving too much away, but there's an angle I'd like to find into the next one that is kind of set up in the movie that I won't spoil right now. But yeah, hopefully I guess people just go, first and foremost, go see the movie, and hopefully we get that chance.
Of course,
yeah.
Get the word out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so it comes out in January, and I was curious whether it's another scary movie or just a movie in general. Looking back on this year, is there something that you really enjoyed just as a moviegoer?
Yeah, moviegoer. I mean, I just saw Godzilla -1.
Me too.
I freaking loved it.
I saw it in IMAX.
Loved it, man. I thought it was, again, I love a movie like that. There's such a good character story there, and you're so invested in this guy can't forgive himself, and he's trying to start this family, or he doesn't want to give himself that happiness. But then also the monster just kicks ass. Sound design's amazing. I just I love a movie like that can, and I hope Night Swim has some of that too, where it can balance like you really care about the characters and it's emotional, it's a drama, but it also just like goes hard, kicks ass, it's scary, it's rock and roll, it's great creatures, great design. So that was one that really stuck with me. Also thought Poor Things was great. Megan, of course, beginning of last year in the same slot we're gonna be in, was so much fun and had such a cultural just moment, just like became such a thing. It's so cool. Our editor, Jeff McAvoy, cut Megan as well. So yeah, I feel connected to that movie's success, and yeah, it's great.
Well, I can't wait for everyone else to see it.
Yeah, man, I can't wait either. I'm very excited.
Great.
Yeah,
well,
dude,
thank you. It's
appreciate
very nice to meet
it.
you.
So nice to meet you as well.